It is 2 o'clock in the morning. You open the cabinet under your kitchen sink for nothing more than a sponge, and something small and brown moves across the back of your hand before you even understand what you are looking at. Your heart is going before your mind catches up. Most folks at that moment reach for their phone to find an exterminator's number for the morning. My grandmother reached for the jug sitting 6 inches from where the roach just was. The same jug, the same shelf, the same hand reaching for it. For as long as anyone in my family can remember, it will not poison your children. It will not poison your dog. It will not leave a residue you have to keep your grandchildren away from for 48 hours, like the can the exterminator leaves behind. It costs about $3 a jug at any grocery store, and one jug, used right, handles more than 30 different pests in a house, a barn, and a garden, by the same simple piece of chemistry every single time. My name is Isaac Hostler. I am Amish. I keep a farmhouse and a barn in pest country, the kind of damp, wooded land that breeds ants, roaches, mice, and every crawling thing in between. And I have never once paid a man in a white truck to walk my property line. Today I am going to show you the one thing in that jug that does all the work, why it works on so many different creatures by the same single mechanism, and then I am going to walk you through the pests that matter most, one at a time, the Amish way, the way it was done in my grandmother's kitchen before anyone had a number to call. Stay with me, because the last few I show you are the ones that genuinely surprised me the first time I saw them work. Let me start with what most folks get backward, because if you don't understand this part, you will use vinegar the wrong way your whole life and wonder why it never works the way you hoped. Most people think of vinegar as a smell. A strong, sour smell that bugs don't like, the same way you might not like the smell of something. That is not what is happening, and it is not even close. If vinegar only worked because bugs disliked the smell, it would fade in an hour and do nothing after that, the same way a strong candle does nothing to keep ants away once the candle burns out. What is actually happening is chemistry, not preference. White vinegar is acetic acid, diluted down to about 5% in water. Acetic acid is a real acid, the same family of thing that will eat through metal given enough time and concentration, just gentle enough at 5% that your skin and your kitchen counter can take it. To us, that is mild. To something the size of an ant or a roach or a flea, an acid is not mild at all. It is a chemical event happening at a scale where it actually matters. Here is the piece almost nobody explains right. Insects do 3 things with chemistry that we do with words. They smell with chemistry, they navigate with chemistry, and a lot of them breathe with chemistry. Not the way we breathe through a nose and lungs, but through tiny openings along the sides of their bodies. Acetic acid interferes with all 3 of those systems at once, depending on the creature and how you use it. That is the whole secret. It is not one trick that happens to work on 30 different bugs by coincidence. It is one piece of basic chemistry that happens to disrupt the exact systems that nearly every crawling pest depends on to survive in your house. My grandmother did not know the word acetic acid. She did not need to. She knew that the jug under her sink handled the ants in May, the spiders in June, the silverfish in her recipe books all year round, and the mice come September. And she trusted what she could see working in front of her, season after season, longer than I have been alive. I am going to give you both, what she knew and the reason underneath it, so you are not just taking it on faith the way she had to. Let quotes start with the pest that costs people the most arguments in a marriage, because I say that only half joking. Ants. An ant does not wander your kitchen counter by accident. The first ant that finds your sugar bowl is a scout, and that scout lays down an invisible chemical trail on her way back to the colony, a scent road, you might call it, that every other ant in that colony can read and follow. That is the entire reason you see a perfect marching line instead of ants scattered everywhere at random. They are reading a road that you cannot see and cannot smell. Mix equal parts white vinegar and water in a spray bottle and wipe down every surface where you have seen that line marching. The counter edges especially, the corners, the windowsill they came in through. The acetic acid does not just clean the counter, it erases the road. Do this morning and night for 3 days, and what happens next is almost funny to watch. New scouts arrive at the place the road used to lead, and the road is gone. They have no instructions. The whole colony loses its map to your kitchen, and most of the time they simply give up and look elsewhere. Dot spiders work on a similar idea, but for a different reason. A spider does not hate vinegar out of distaste. A spider reads its environment through chemical sensors in its legs, more sensitive than almost anything else in the insect world. And acetic acid overwhelms that sense, the way a flashlight in your eyes at night overwhelms your vision. 3 parts water, 1 part vinegar, sprayed into corners and window frames where the webs keep returning. Spray the web itself, wipe it down, and what is left behind is a surface the spider's own legs tell her is hostile. She does not rebuild there. My grandmother did this every Friday with her regular cleaning, and folks in my community who keep this habit rarely have a spider problem worth mentioning. Now I want to go to the one that frightens people more than any other, because I think you deserve the honest version of this one, not the version that oversells it. Cockroaches. A roach breathes through small openings along its body called spiracles, not through a nose the way we do. Acetic acid vapor is genuinely irritating to that system, irritating enough that a barrier of it becomes a wall a roach will go out of its way to avoid. Soak a length of rope or string in undiluted vinegar and lay it along the threshold of a door or window where you have seen roach activity. Refresh it every 2 days because the vapor fades faster than the liquid form does. This is a barrier method, not an extermination method, and I want to be plain about that distinction because the two get confused constantly online. For the roaches already inside, vinegar earns its keep in a different way, on the egg case. A female roach lays her eggs inside a tough, leathery case called an ootheca, and that case resists almost every surface spray you can buy. It does not resist a soak. Undiluted vinegar, several minutes of direct contact, breaks down that casing enough to kill what is inside it. When you find one of these behind an appliance or in a cabinet hinge, that is the moment vinegar does its real work. Not on the adult walking across your counter, but on the next generation before it has a chance to hatch. And here is the part I promised you, the master approach, the one my grandmother used when a roach problem had gotten past the point of 1 spray bottle and a little patience. Spray every entry point with undiluted vinegar. Wipe every surface, including inside the cabinets and under the sink, to strip every pheromone trail a roach uses to find its way back to safety. Pour a cup down every drain. Soak cotton balls in vinegar and tuck them into cabinet hinges and behind appliances. Treat any egg case you find on contact before you remove it. Do the full round on day 1, day 3, and day 7. Then keep a weekly wipe down going after that. The reason this works as a complete system rather than a single trick is that you are not attacking the roach in one place. You are attacking its navigation, its hiding spots, its breeding, and its breathing, all on the same day, from every direction it has. That is not killing individuals. That is taking apart the whole system that lets a colony survive in a house in the first place. Mice are a different animal entirely, and the mechanism shifts with them. A mouse does not navigate by sight nearly as much as it navigates by scent, specifically the scent of its own urine and the natural grease along its fur, laid down again and again along the same paths through your walls and cabinets until that path becomes second nature to it. Wipe your counters, your stovetop, and especially the backs of your cabinets every night with undiluted vinegar on a cloth, and you are not just cleaning. You are erasing the only map that mouse has of your kitchen. My grandmother used to say a clean-smelling kitchen is an uninvited kitchen, and she meant it almost literally. Before you stuff steel wool into any gap or crack a mouse has been using to get in, soak that steel wool in vinegar first. The smell lingers in the fibers long after the liquid dries, and a mouse that finds that smell at an entry point generally decides the front door is more trouble than it is worth. I want to slow down here and give you the honest limit of all this, because I will not let you believe this is magic, and a method that oversells itself is a method that loses your trust the first time it falls short. Vinegar does not kill an insect egg the way it disrupts an adult's nervous system or breathing. A bedbug egg, tucked deep in a mattress seam, will largely shrug off a vinegar spray that would send an adult bedbug into retreat. What vinegar does for bedbugs is disrupt the adult on contact and make a treated surface hostile enough that they relocate away from it, which matters, but it is not the same as full elimination on its own. If you have a real bedbug problem, vinegar is one tool in a larger fight, not the whole fight by itself. I would rather tell you that plainly now than have you spray once, see roaches still walking by next week, and decide the whole idea was nonsense. The same honesty applies outdoors. Vinegar sprayed on a tick boundary, a mole tunnel, or a wasp's scouting site works as a deterrent, a fence the pest would rather not cross, not as a way to eliminate an established colony or nest. It moves the problem away from you. It does not always end the problem on the other side of the property line. Used the right way, knowing exactly what it can and cannot do, it is one of the most useful things in a farmhouse. Used as a cure-all, you spray once and forget, it will let you down, and I don't want that for you. Now, here is the part of this that I think you deserve to hear plainly, because once you understand it, you will not need me to explain it to you again. The exterminator truck that drives down your road costs a family $800 a year, sometimes closer to $1,200, and not for one visit. Every year. Forever. For as long as you own the house. Because the ants come back in May whether you paid in April or not, and the contract is built around exactly that. A $3 jug of vinegar does not return your business next month. It sits under your sink and keeps working for free for as long as the bottle lasts. I do not believe there is a man in a back office somewhere deciding to keep this from you. It is something quieter than that, and in a way harder to fight than an actual conspiracy would be. Nobody coordinates it. Nobody needs to. A truck and a contract and a canister is a business a man can build a whole life around. A jug from the grocery store is not a business anyone can build at all. So the people who make their living on the contract simply never have a reason to mention the jug, and the people who would benefit most from hearing about the jug are the ones who were never told to look for it. That is not a scheme. That is just how the money quietly flows. And it has flowed that way for a long, long time. My community kept this knowledge because we never had another option. There was no number to call, no truck coming down our lane, no monthly bill we could choose to pay instead of learning the thing ourselves. So we learned it, generation after generation, and we kept using it long after the rest of the country was handed a more expensive answer and stopped asking whether the cheaper one still worked. It still works. It has never stopped working. You were just never told to look under your own sink. Here is what I want you to do this week, in order, the same way my grandmother would have walked through her own kitchen. Mix a bottle of equal parts white vinegar and water and wipe down every counter and surface where you have seen ants marching, morning and night, for 3 days straight. Spray your window corners and frames where the webs keep returning and wipe them clean, every Friday, the way it was always done in my house. If roaches are a real concern, soak a length of rope in undiluted vinegar and lay it at your doorway thresholds and refresh it every 2 days without skipping. Every night before bed, wipe your counters, your stovetop, and the backs of your cabinets with a vinegar-dampened cloth, because that single habit alone breaks the path a mouse depends on more than almost anything else you can do. And if it has gotten bad, if you are past the point of a single spray bottle, run the full roach protocol. Every entry point, every drain, every hinge on day 1, day 3, and day 7, and do not skip a day of it. Tell me in the comments below which pest has given your family the most trouble this year, and whether you already had a jug of vinegar under your sink before you watched this, or whether this is the first you're hearing of it. I read every single one of these, and the stories you send back are the reason I keep putting these together. Next time I want to show you the other jug my grandmother kept beside the vinegar, a soft white powder that does something vinegar cannot, working on the harder-shelled pests that take a little longer to leave, and why the two of them together cover almost everything that ever tries to come through an Amish door. It is the natural next step after today, And once you see how the two work side by side, you will understand why she never kept just one of them on the shelf. Until then, keep the jug close, wipe the counters before bed, and remember the people who built this country with their hands knew things we are only just starting to remember.